Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about a single decision made in the middle of the night inside a secret military bunker that literally stopped a global nuclear war. It's an incredible story about technology, unbelievable pressure, and one man's gut feeling. And that really is the heart of it, isn't it? In a system that's built for automatic, hair-trigger reactions, what happens when just one person in that chain of command has a feeling, a doubt, that the machines are wrong? The fate of the entire world was hanging on that very question.
So to really understand the weight of this moment, we've got to go back. Let's set the scene. It's 1983. The Cold War between the US and the Soviet Union is maybe at its most dangerous point ever. Both sides are just bristling with tension, living on a knife's edge.
The entire world was basically held together by this, well, frankly terrifying logic called mutually assured destruction, or MAD for short. The whole idea was nobody's going to be crazy enough to start a nuclear war because it's suicide. The only way to make that work was to guarantee you could launch your own missiles the second you saw theirs coming. There was almost zero time built in for people to sit around and think about it. And this set up a massive conflict. On one hand, you had the official protocol, which was completely rigid. It said, if you get an alert, any alert, you report it up the chain. That report then triggers the counterattack, period. But on the other hand, you have this very real, very human fear. What if the super advanced technology you're supposed to trust just messes up? What if it's all just a glitch? Okay, so let's zoom in now from this huge global standoff right down to a specific command center near Moscow, and to the man who suddenly found himself at the absolute center of it all. It's the night of September 26th, 1983. Lieutenant Colonel Stanislav Petrov is the duty officer at a top-secret bunker called Serpukhov 15. This place is the nerve center for the Soviets' shiny new early warning satellite system, OKO. It was supposed to be a quiet shift. And here's the key thing about Petrov. He was the only officer there with actual scientific training. Everyone else was a career military guy, trained to follow orders. And then, just after midnight, all hell breaks loose. A siren just screams through the bunker. A massive screen flashes bright red with one word: launch. The system, his system, is reporting one missile coming from the United States. Before he can even catch his breath, another one pops up. And another? And within just a couple of minutes, the system is shrieking that 5 nuclear missiles are in the air, headed straight for them. The room is descending into absolute chaos. So Petrov has mere minutes to make a choice. And his job, according to protocol, is brutally simple. Confirm the alert and report it. Making that one phone call would, without a doubt, set in motion a massive Soviet counterattack against America and its allies. World War III would begin right there. But he paused. Something just felt wrong. His scientist brain kicked in. First, he thought a real first strike from the US, it wouldn't be 5 missiles. It would be a massive, overwhelming attack with hundreds of them. Second, he knew this OKO satellite system was brand new, and honestly, it was known to be buggy. But here was the clincher. He checked the ground-based radar systems, and they showed nothing. Absolutely nothing. Just empty sky. You know, in his own words, it all came down to this funny feeling in his gut. With his own men screaming at him to report the attack, with the fate of the world on his shoulders, he was in a battle against the computer, against the rules, and against the panic filling the room. And he chose to trust his own doubt over the screaming machine. He picked up the phone to headquarters, and with a steady voice, he reported the absolute unthinkable. He told his superiors that their billion-dollar, state-of-the-art warning system was having a system malfunction. He was calling it a false alarm, with no real proof other than his own logic and that deep-down gut feeling. Can you just imagine the tension in that bunker after he made that call? He'd gone against every single rule. If he was wrong, those 5 missiles would hit in about 20 minutes, and he would go down in history as the man who doomed his country. All they could do was wait. For 23 of the longest minutes imaginable, they all just waited in this thick, terrifying silence. And then the confirmation finally came through. The number of missiles actually heading their way was 0. The ground radar had been right. The satellites were wrong. And Stanislav Petrov's gut feeling had just saved the world.
So, what on earth had actually happened? Well, it turned out to be a cosmic perfect storm, just a 1 in a million fluke. It was a very rare alignment of the Sun, the Oxco satellite's specific orbit, and some high-altitude clouds. All that came together to cause the Sun's glare to reflect in a very particular way. The system's new and kind of dumb software saw that intense solar reflection and mistook it for the heat signature of 5 missile engines. It was a trick of the light that almost ended human civilization.
So let's pull back and look at the aftermath of all this. What happened to the man at the center of the storm?
Now, you'd think Stanislav Petrov would be celebrated as a global hero, right? Parades, medals, the whole thing? Nope, not even close. For his actions, he was interrogated intensely. He wasn't punished for disobeying orders, but he certainly wasn't rewarded for saving the world. See, what he did was actually a huge embarrassment. He revealed that their prize system was flawed and that their rigid protocols were dangerous. So the whole incident was stamped top secret, and Petrov was quietly moved to a less sensitive job. He took early retirement soon after, and the world wouldn't even learn his name for more than 10 years.
And this story, it leaves us with a really big, really important question for our own time. Petrov's incredible moment highlights that terrifying gap that can exist between automated systems and human judgment. So today, as we race towards more and more sophisticated AI-driven systems that can make life and death decisions in a fraction of a second, we have to ask ourselves, who is our Stanislav Petrov? Where in the code, where in the network is there still room for a person with a gut feeling, a healthy dose of doubt, and the simple courage to just say, no, wait,